Two longtime rivals met in the John Merritt Classic in Nashville, and the game was just that. In breaking a 25-25 tie, you needed a little controversy, and that's how this one ended. I'm Mark Gray, and the HBCU Sports Nation rolls from Nashville.
Come and celebrate with us in the land of golden sunshine as Tennessee State University marks its 100th anniversary.
Tons of anticipation on Labor Day weekend in Nashville as Tennessee State and Florida A&M renewed acquaintances for the first time since 2010. It started off looking like Tennessee State was going to dominate the contest. Michael German connected with Devin Wilson on a 22-yard pass to cap the game's opening drive, and that put the Tigers up 7-0. Then after the intermission, Tennessee State capped the opening drive of the second half with a 38-yard field goal from Jamin Godfrey, and the Tigers led 10-0. They would then take a 17-0 lead when Travis Ward capped the long drive with a 6-yard touchdown run. After an 80-yard drive, it was 17-0, and it looked that Florida A&M was all but dead. However, the Rattlers, playing with pride, engineer a drive as Tyler Bass, coming in for the cramping Damian Fleming, connects with Travis Harvey on a 13-yard scoring strike, and suddenly the Rattlers were on the board. Later in the fourth quarter, with the momentum clearly on their side, Fleming found his energy, and Florida A&M needed it, as he was able to engineer an 8-play, 59-yard drive, capping it with an 8-yard touchdown pass from Michael Etheridge. And just like that, Florida A&M back in it at 17-14. The Rattlers' defense then thickened. They stopped Tennessee State and was able to make a huge play. Then Fleming, engineering his team. He uses his legs and takes the ball all the way down to the 2-yard line. Florida A&M, 2 cracks at it from inside the 1-yard line. The second on 4th and goal with about 30 seconds to go. And controversially, the Rattlers do not get the call. Tennessee State holds on for a 17-14 victory, opening the season again in the third year of the Rod Reed era with a victory in the John Merritt Classic.
Where were you at 16? Going on your first date? Passing your driver's test? Or what about attending a university? Anyone?
Coming to FAMU at 16 years old has truly been a new experience for me. And one day, I hope to work with Lockheed Martin's Weapons Analysis and Design program. I believe that FAMU is where I'm meant to be.
That's pretty impressive for a 16-year-old.
Actually, I'm 17 now.
Discover what you can become. Visit DiscoverFAMU.com.
With my broadcast partner, Mike Walker, this is a game that will be remembered for a 4th and goal inside the 1-yard line, where Florida A&M contends that Damian Fleming was able to take it to the house. However, the officials saw otherwise. I agree with Joe Taylor. I didn't think that they had enough energy to make it into overtime. Do you agree with Joe Taylor's decision to go for it on 4th down?
You can't really second-guess the winningest coach in HBCU sports. He decided that he was going to try to win the game as opposed to engineer the tie and win it in overtime. It looked as if he might have gotten in there twice, but the officials thought otherwise.
It clearly showed on the Jumbotron, but he said he couldn't use it.
When you get right down to it, this was a game that was defined by the leadership of Michael German. You're talking about the two best quarterbacks, arguably, in HBCU football, and at the end of the day, the better field general who played a more consistent game was the Tennessee State signal caller.
He got out the blocks early, Mark. You know, he had a different level of motivation. He was told that if he came to Tennessee State, he'd never beat FAMU. I'm sure he carried that from the day that he got here. Put together a tremendous couple of drives in the first part of the game, showed a whole lot of leadership for a guy who's only a sophomore. This is a school that has a history of generating some tremendous quarterbacks, and I think he may be in that line as well.
It took a while for Damian Fleming to really get his game going. He started cramping up, but in the second half when his team needed him, he really played big, but he comes out on the losing end. Joe Taylor stuck with him. Talk about what that means for when your quarterbacks, who really is going to personify what that team does this season.
You know, it lets him know that the coach has confidence in him. You know, he probably told him early in the season, look, the offense is going to live and die with you. So he was struggling in the first half. A lot of people were kind of mumbling, hey, pull him. Let somebody else get a shot. But as soon as those cramps loosened up, Joe Taylor threw him right back in the game, and he paid big dividends. He literally brought them to the brink of victory.
Now, with all due respect to Grambling, you can make the argument that these are two elite blue blood programs in the annals of HBCU football history, countless NFL Hall of Famers, countless players in the National Football League, and at the end of the day, Tennessee State now has a 26-25 lead in this series. And then you look at the John Merritt Classic. We go around the country, we see all the big events. How do you rate this one?
You know, we choose it for that reason. It's a great way for us to start up our season. It's the first of the Super 7 series. You know, we like to pay honor and tribute to John Merritt, one of the four, what we call the Mount Rushmore of black college coaches. And you know what? The game lived up to how it was billed. Tremendous game. If you came here, it came down to the last seconds of the game, and this is the type of excitement that we try to bring.
And if you're a fan of the Mideastern Athletic Conference, you have to be concerned. Commissioner Dennis Thomas has been saying it's time for his teams to step up in non-conference contests. The MEAC goes 0-2 versus the Ohio Valley Conference after Hampton lost against Tennessee Tech on Thursday. Florida A&M loses here to Tennessee State on Saturday, so the MEAC has some work to do if they're going to climb the RPI rankings to make a move to get more than just one team into the postseason.
Look, 6 inches and we wouldn't even be talking about this game. It came down to a matter of inches. They say football is a game of inches. I think it was proven this evening. But to the point, Dennis is right. The MEAC, they have to really look to schedule up, so to speak, and then win these games, because that's how you essentially reposition yourself as far as the playoffs are concerned.
So we'll have Florida A&M in a few weeks down the road against Southern University in the Atlanta Football Classic. I'm Mark Gray for Mike Walker. We will have more as the HBCU Roadshow continues from South Carolina next week.